Hello, this is Christy. Welcome to another video. In a recent video I made, I showed how you can adjust photos, particularly the contrast, the brightness, using the levels adjustment in Photoshop. Now, if you don't have Photoshop, you can access the same function in other software, and today we're going to look at using this software called XnView. It's one of my favorite software for quick adjustments, quick edits, browsing images on my hard drive and transforming images very easily, and it is free. So I'm going to show you how you can make your colors pop. You can adjust the contrast, the lightning and the white and the black point in your pictures to instantly improve them. So I am using intentionally the same images that I used in my other tutorial for Photoshop, so that you can watch the other one if you want and compare the results. And the main function that I'm going to refer to today is the levels adjustment in XnView. So if you don't have XnView, go to xnview.com and download it for free. They also have a paid version and a more complex version, but the free version is quite enough for most of my needs over the years. So I'm going to show you here. I have a bunch of photos here, and I have intentionally selected some photos that have bad lighting, bad contrast. If you see, they're kind of washed out and lacking color and brightness and so on. So I'm going to go through a few of them and show you how the levels adjustment works, and then we will look at other filters you can use and adjustments in XnView. So the first one is levels. So I'm going to start with, I don't know, maybe this photo here. So you can see this photo. I'm going to double click to open it, and it's kind of washed out. The white on these shells is not really white, and there's no contrast, not much contrast here. So the first adjustment you can do is levels. This is the easiest. So when you open the photo, go to the image menu and go to adjust and levels, or you can press the letter L, the key L. So adjusting the levels, click on levels. So you get this window that shows you this histogram here, this black sort of curvy thing. So this is my principle for adjusting. So imagine that this histogram is like a bunch of, like a mountain, if you want. So you have the black point on the left. You see this little arrow here. This indicates the black point, and this white arrow here indicates the white point. In Photoshop, there is a middle one called the gray point, which allows you to do a little more adjustment than XnView to bring out the shadows and the level of contrast. But XnView doesn't have this. Photoshop has that. So in here still, imagine that the principle you need to remember is this. When you want to adjust levels, your histogram will tell you what is wrong with the image. So as you can see here, there is image data all over this line, but here at the end we have a plateau with not enough image color or light, because that's the white point. And on the left there, the black point seems to be fine, but the white point is far off. So the idea is that you want to adjust the white point to bring it to the starting of this mountain, at the base of the mountain if you want. So this will be very easy to remember, because that will adjust the levels correctly. If you apply automatic level adjustment, I'm going to show you, it actually does that. It brings the white point here and the black point close to the beginning of the mountain. So let's see what happens if we do that. Make sure you have apply to image ticked, so that you can see the changes happening, or you can look at this little window here. But let's pull the white point to the beginning of the mountain right here. So let's do that. It may show a progress little indicator because it applies it in real time. If you don't want that to happen, you turn off the apply to image. So look at my image now. If I turn it off, look, it's very washed out and dark. And now it's lighter, brighter, and everything pops. Yeah, so this is a very simple. So all we did is move the white point to the beginning of this range here, and the black point, if you want a little more black here, just pull the black point down to the right a little bit like this. And let's see what happens. Okay, very nice improvement. You can go further if you want with the white point if it's still dark, but I wouldn't advise it because then it will bring too much white and it will look like the picture was overexposed and white areas will actually disappear. So if I exaggerate and go here, see, look, there's much too much white. So you wanna stay in or around the end of this mountain range here where color data starts to show up. So this is the difference. I'm gonna click OK. Now if you still need to adjust this a little bit, maybe the mid-tones, this is what the gray point does in Photoshop. So here we don't have that, we don't have the gray point, so we can adjust it differently. We can use the brightness maybe, so or the curves even. So you go to the image menu again and click adjust, and then go to you can either use brightness, contrast, gamma, and balance, or you can use shadow and highlight, or you can use hue, lightness, and saturation. You can play with that. Con bright, you know, you can try all of these. Let's try the brightness, contrast, gamma, balance. So here we go. So here we can we have much more sliders to use. Don't go onto these ones yet because these adjust the different channels. So you can just move your color. You can if you want more red in your picture, you can slide the red slider. So there you go, you've added a lot of red there. So if your picture is a bit too much towards the reds, you can pull the red down, and then you're leaving green and blue in the channels in there. So I'm not going to talk about this too much for now. So let's put this back to 0, and let's try the brightness a bit, but this is again dangerous because if you pull it too much, I mean, you can overexpose your picture. And like, look, if I'm going here, it's overexposed. But I can actually just use a couple, maybe 3 or 4 notches up or down, and see what happens. You can use these arrow key, you know, to press on them, and then tick the box to apply to image on or off to see the difference. Look, see, I've added a bit of brightness here as well. You can use add more contrast. That's obviously too much, so you can pull the contrast down or up again. Just if you click in or around the slider, it just moves it way too much, so you want to slide it slightly. It's always small increments, not huge changes. Click OK. Right, so this image is much better now than what I started with. I'm gonna escape and not save this right now. Let's try another one. So let's try, I don't know, this one. This one is again washed out, kind of dark. Let's see if the levels works. Press L, bring up the levels, and look, the histogram is telling us what is happening with this picture. By the way, this histogram, you can access it even without opening the picture. If you click on the picture here, you can see the picture, but you can see these tabs here, right? So if you go to histogram, you can already tell that the black area here is flat and the white point area is flat also. So the histogram needs adjusting. So let's go back to the coffee one. Again, here, look, the histogram shows there's a little bit of adjustment to do on the black point and quite a lot on the white point. So let's open this one. Press L. So you see the histogram looks exactly like the one we've just seen. So like we anticipated, I'm gonna turn off the image. Let's do it without looking. Turn off apply to image and slide the black point to the start of this mountain, as we say in quotes. This is a mountain, right? With the top, with a peak and a valley and the hills and stuff and a slope. And then also the white point. Let's pull the point all the way to the start of the mountain, right? So we're just seeing the stuff in this tiny window. Let's click apply to image and see. There you go. The colors are popped, the contrast is up, and the clarity and the light is also better now. So with this tick now I can do more. I can pull up the white a little more if I want to, and look, it's quite a difference from what we had. A washed out dark image, and now it's nice and the colors are popping out. Very nice. Click OK. And again, if you want to adjust, for example, this one, look, this one is a little in the kind of yellow, right? So I want to maybe see and try to pull down the yellow bit. So I'm going to go to brightness, contrast, gamma, balance, right? And typically if you have RGB, the channels, you have red, green, and blue. typically when the image is kind of leaning towards the yellows, then you don't have enough blue in your image. So let's try and bump up the blue by 1 or 2 or 3, or maybe, I don't know, that's a bit too much. So let's go down a bit to about, I don't know, 5. Okay, so big difference, right? Yellow, kind of blue. Now you can pull down the red a bit too if it persists, and also you can tweak on the green. So you can adjust your color so you're making your image a bit cooler, right? So I'm bumping up the blue, but not too much so as to turn it purple. If it turns purple, then you want to turn down the red a bit, right? And maybe turn up the green too. So look, this is now, it was yellow and kind of brownish, and now it's cooler hues, and I have added a bit of balance to my image. Again, of course, you can play with the adjustment, the brightness, contrast, shadows, and highlights, right? So if I want to bring more, put more shadows back into the picture, turn up the shadow, right? So I'm making the background darker while keeping my subject bright. If I want to tone down the brightness a bit, I can use the brightness slider. So there you go. So I adjusted this image. Let's try another image and we will be done. Let's choose this one. This is very dark, right? This is very dark, very faded, very you know, it has no contrast whatsoever. It's quite horrible. So let's try image, and let's try this time. I mean, I'm looking at the histogram there, so I'm bringing up the levels. So you can see in the levels there's a lot of adjustment to do here on the black. So I'm going to pull this down to the start of the curve, and quite a lot on the white point, right? So it's almost half half of this space, right? So let's try this. Let's pull the white point way up here to the start, and look at that. Instant results, instant complete transformation of my image. I don't even have to do anything else really, because this is quite good. Click OK. So now let me undo this, and let me show you. So even if you don't want to slide those things out manually and everything, you can actually go to Image, Map, and you have these two things, automatic levels and automatic contrast. Let's click on automatic levels and see if the level achieves the same effect that we have done manually. So I'm going to click automatic levels, and there you go. It's pretty much done the same. If I bring up the levels, my histogram is looking quite good. Perhaps they stopped, you know, the automatic level actually looks at absolute lack of color image data. So then when it finds just a little bit, it just stops there. But, you know, this little bit, you can move it all the way down here to where the bigger piece of the mountain starts. So this will create more contrast, see, like this. So you can try that. And also automatic contrast will also help if you just want a quick fix. But of course the levels have already done most of the work, so there's no difference there. Right, so I hope this tutorial was useful. XnView is certainly not Photoshop, and it's not GIMP or any of the other more complex software, but it is free and it is very easy to use. It's very fast, it's tiny, it doesn't take a lot of space on your hard drive, and you have all these image and filters, and I haven't even started about the effects. And plus there's another video on my channel about how to use it for batch editing. So you can do quite a lot of batch editing with XnView. If you need to quickly transform a bunch of photos, resize them, rotate them, whatever, you have a lot of functions there in XnView to rotate images and automate it. So you just give it a bunch of photos, maybe a whole folder, and it will automatically do that work for you. So it's quite nice. I'll do a lot of tutorials, so let me know if you want to see more tutorials about XnView and how to use it. And it's great because it's free, so you know, can't argue with that. So thanks for watching, and if you enjoy my tutorials, thank you for subscribing and liking it and sharing and commenting, and see you next time.